by a dedicated subscriber and Ranchino file that it is indeed Charon booster, and I think Charon booster, yeah, so I'm exactly going to say that. 2 more factories being added by Hwasin, so he's going very heavy on the mech here. Quite on a Hwasin-like, really. He's much more known for his medic marine play, but he did go for that early attack, which didn't pan out for him, so he followed up with vultures to make sure he's going to be safe. Did add those 2 factories because he knew his Rex was dying. Yeah, he did decide to go follow up with mech just to have an easier time defending his main, so he would have vultures against possible zergling attack coming at him. Still don't see an academy coming up for him. I think scan would be useful just to spot what it is that, just to scan some locations, spot the third, and possibly spot something else. Spot the main, spot when attacks coming up. Kwanro now, the lower left-hand position, are going to start mining there. Mural is still flying around and haven't managed to do any sort of serious damage because of those Goliaths. Fairly large Goliath number, not really a lot of turrets. Hwasin not really needing them. Goliath, oh, Mutas running in just as Goliath get in position. Do manage to pick off one SCV, I believe, going to go for yet another one, and instantly going to be forced to back off. Not dying at all. Going to pick off this one scouting SCV. No, actually, don't spot it. Actually, run right up north. Oh, no, it is. They do spot it. SCV is going to run up south, and I think spotting those Hydras in that position and the fact that Mutilas were going north and that instantly turns south as soon as they spot it is going to give Hwasin an idea that it might be something hidden in the lower left. And Mutilas going to go for it again. Run into a huge line of Goliaths. Just going to kill some Mutilas. Did manage to pick off even more SCVs. So he's being very adamant about doing some sort of economic damage. Make sure that Hwasin can't catch up to him so he can take out. So oh man, vultures coming right here. There are some Mutants to help defend, but these vultures have speed upgrades. They're going to be able to take out all of these drones and run away before they get picked off. Not really that many drones at the position, so one more drone that was being transferred and taken out. So the vultures would have been done even a lot more damage if they had gone to that position just like 30 seconds later. I think actually missing one of those drones there was running towards that position. Thinking of possibly doing some run-bys. Vulture run-bys could be very effective now because not a lot of force on the ground. There are some Hydras, but the only thing that Kwanro really has those Mutalisks, and just running around with a couple of vultures here and there is keeping those Mutalisks away from his base, away from his main and his natural expansion. That's worthwhile, I would say. I'm not quite sure what weapons one is quite yet ready at this point. Should be coming in very soon. Still a huge number of Mutalisks with a Carapace upgrade. That's why he's so adamant about continuously going for this attack. Not even microing at this point, just killing as many SCVs as he can, taking the turret alongside all the Goliaths moving in close now. But still Mutalisks managed to at least devastate some of the defenses. They're killing several SCVs in the process, but there are weapons upgrades for those Goliaths now. So they're going to be able to kill a lot of those Mutalisks. Again, taking some heavy fire. Those Mutalisks, huge number of Mutas. So at least Kwanro's going to have a little bit of hard time on concentrated fire. Muta's just going to pass those guys yet again, going to go for some SCVs, not allowing any sort of turrets to be built, killing SCVs all sides. Really looking at the saturation of natural expansion. Hwasin not being allowed to saturate at all, and I got to say, despite the losses to Mutalisks, it is very smart, yet again preventing turrets from coming up, picking off SCVs, and not allowing those Goliaths to move out at all. Hwasin very heavy on the Goliaths, doing almost nothing but Goliaths at this point. Those Mutas, very interesting that Kwanro, I think he should be building some sort of ground force to augment this, because just Mutas to attack Goliaths is not really a smart idea. Even if he has a even if you have a ginormous clump, 2 control groups plus of Mutas, you still don't want him to take on even a control group of Goliaths, because you might end up victorious, but you're still going to lose a lot. However, they are going to just stand right on top of those Goliaths, take them out, and just decimate that entire CV line. Goliaths, again, lagging, and almost no mining going at the natural. One single SCV left the line. Hwasin's economy, oh man, Hwasin's academy left in absolute shambles, not being allowed to move out at all. Just because Hwasin doesn't have very maneuverable air defenses, though the Goliaths, despite being able to move around and have very long range, is not really managing to defend. Mutal is going to go for it yet again. A lot of Goliaths attacking them, but Mutal is in a large enough number, they're just going to wreak havoc. Quite a few of them losing their lives here. I wonder what Kwanro is doing economy-wise. Still on the lair tech, still bidding a bunch of Mutas, just sticking with air and air and air. I'm at this point wondering whether he's going to eventually convert to some sort of big air strategy on 3 gases, maybe go for some Guardians. Don't really know how smart that would be against this huge force of Goliaths, but really just sticking to his Mutas. Now flying in a huge Goliath number, engaging Goliaths, just piecemeal. Has very few Goliaths just standing there. Not a lot. Losing some Mutalisks in the process, though. Getting fired up from all sides. Still has a huge number of This Goliaths finally decide, you know what, enough's enough. We've got to start moving out. A large force at this point. Some Marines to augment them, but I think some were staying behind to defend. There are those creep colonies to defense. At this point, I think I've seen a situation like this before, I believe, at the previous MSL. I think it was Calm against 4GG, where 4GG went for just a huge Goliath force. And I think he had some tanks to augment, but he didn't push when he should have. He always kept getting pushed back by attacks from Calm, by Hydras and Mutalisks. Now get engaged yet again. Goliaths off position, and Mutalisks engaging them, picking quite a few off. Some dying in the process, but still picking quite a few off. Mutalisks have weapons 1 and Carapace 1 upgrades at this point. Again, engaging some Goliaths, not really in a huge enough number to engage all those Mutalisks, picking off Goliaths. He's acting like he's facing an M&M build, just holding those Goliaths back, holding them back as long as possible, making sure they don't move into his position. Loses a lot of Mutalisks in the process, but I think Hwasin should just go for it. I think, honestly, he has a huge number of forces. He should do exactly what he's doing. Go for the lower left hand. A couple of tanks to help him out would be nice. There are those 2 Sunkens, but I'm not really think he should be afraid of those Sunkens. Getting tanks would be dangerous simply because of that humongous number of Mutalisks. He also still hasn't saturated his natural expansion at all. Mutalisks attacking those Goliaths. Goliaths being forced to attack the Mutalisks and retreat, and they're all getting picked off. Man, that Mutalisk number just humongous. Kwanro doing nothing but pumping Mutalisk off his 3 bases, not thinking anything but muta, picking off all those Goliaths on the ground, and Hwasin, such huge trouble, did decide to go for the lower left-hand attack, but just prevented all sides at all the time, getting his economy dwindled, really having his economy damaged that badly earlier in the game, really coming through now because he's not being allowed to produce as many. Oh, beautiful drone and sunken block, preventing those vultures from gunning inside and killing all those drones from running inside the main. Mutalisk, meanwhile, yet again attacking the natural of Kwanro's. All of those vultures getting picked off. And Hwasin's economy in a horrible position. He's not going to be able to produce nearly the amount of Goliaths that he was able to produce earlier in the game about 5 minutes ago. That damage to his economy really showing through. Trying to go for some attacks with those vultures again, but not enough sunken colonies all over the place to really prevent that. Some drones are losing their lives. Kwanro not really resaturating much at this point. Still going very heavily in the mutas. Just knowing that he has a chance now to go for it, kill the rest of those forces. No mining at the natural expansion for Hwasin, and his main is the only thing that's giving him resources at this point. Muta is just trying to vie for a position to see where they can go for a break. Some SCVs being pulled off the line. Main is slowly dying out. Not really many minerals there at all. Natural expansion having not been allowed to mine the entire time. This Muta is going to go for it yet again. Some Goliaths on the ramp, some Goliaths below the ramp trying to attack and pick off these Mutas, but even more Mutas running in. Going to be able to pick off all these Goliaths. Definitely in enough number. We're going to see whether at this point they're actually going to overmain. No, they're going to stick with the natural expansion, pick off all of the SCVs, and I think Kwanro might actually go for the main here. Not enough forces at all for Hwasin to defend. He's going to have his entire army, his entire economy, this game lost by nothing but Mutalisks. And GG coming in from Hwasin. Kwanro just Kwanrolling here. Hwasin, the red sniper, being Kwanrolled in epic fashion. Wow. Talk about nice Muta play. Being very persistent. And Hwasin going for very heavy Goliaths. Definitely had chances to win that game, but letting his economy be disturbed that badly, definitely not the way you want to go about winning. So Kwanro 2-0ing this group, and Hwasin going to move on to the final match, and we're going to see very soon what Zerg he gets to face off there. We're going to see whether that ends up being an advantage or a disadvantage for him, because there he didn't manage to pull off the win, but we're going to see what he managed to do in the final match. So stay tuned for the losers match, guys, to see who faces Hwasin, and Kwanro Kwanrolls his group. GG, guys. Ranching out. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed.